So this is episode 2 of an interview with an architect, and this time I welcome Lisa Raynes, who's come from Manchester, who runs the practice and is a director of the practice Pride Road. So Lisa, welcome, and thank you for meeting me today. It's nice to see you. Please introduce yourself.
So I'm Lisa Raynes. I'm director of the architects practice Pride Road Architects, and I'm also director of the architects practice franchise Pride Road Limited. So there's two companies. One is consumer focused, so that's doing architecture, domestic architecture for homeowners across the country, and the other is a franchise business where we provide architectural opportunities for architects who want to run their own business around the country under the Pride Road franchise, the Pride Road umbrella.
Excellent. And how long has this business been going then? How long have you been in the industry as an architect yourself?
So that's lots of questions.
Is,
that's
yeah.
3 questions in one.
Hang on, I'm
Shall I stop there?
No, you go, yeah.
So I think I qualified around 98.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm showing my age here.
You're a youngster. You're a youngster.
I'm a youngster. Yeah. I am a youngster. So about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
My maths is just not working. And I went into practice. And back in 2010, I set up on my own as Raynes Architecture.
Okay.
And then 7 years ago, I rebranded as Pride Road.
Okay.
And I also launched the franchise Pride Road.
Okay. Tell us about the practice then and the franchise model, how it works. Where are you based? You mentioned Manchester, but you're UK-wide, mm-hmm. and you're looking to promote the business across the country, the franchise business.
That's correct.
So currently then, how many staff are there? How many franchisees are there? Are they all ARB registered architects, or are there Part 2s, for example, as well? How does it work?
So there are 5 franchises across the country. So we've got Bournemouth, and New Forest. We've got South Warwickshire, Surrey. We've got South Manchester, and North Cheshire. So they're actually adjacent. So that the general Manchester term covers quite Greater Manchester, I think. Yeah. Each of us, and I do still practice. I still run effectively a franchise within the framework. Yeah. Each of us are effectively one-man bands. Okay. We are all ARB architects, and some of us are RIBA architects as well. Mm-hmm. We form. We're an RIBA chartered practice. Okay. Which is great, so we get the benefits of the RIBA chartered practice stuff. Yeah. And individually, we don't necessarily keep staff, but we work with subcontractors, suppliers regularly.
Okay. And so each individual franchisee is down to them to find their own work, or do you, because they're obviously based, you mentioned Bournemouth, which is a long way from Manchester, how does one generate their own work? Do you help, by the promotion of the practice, do you help to feed them through, or how does that work?
So how do we find work? Well, it's all marketing. So it's multi-stranded. If we start with the core, which is the Pride Road website, so that's the consumer facing website. It's incredibly deep. There's probably 500, 1,000 pages on it. Okay. It is sort of SEO to the max, with like covering the geographical areas that my franchisees are in. Okay. So, all roads lead back to the website. So whether we're promoting it on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or you're just handing out a business card at a networking meeting, everything goes back into the website.
Of which you're the recipient of, that you then farm out.
Yeah,
basically.
so once someone lands on the website, they'll see a potential client. They'll see loads of projects that look lovely, but also not just lovely. You know, it's very geared towards the lay client.
Yeah.
So we're saying that we're very specific, we're very niche. We just work with homeowners doing extensions.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is it mainly solely residential?
Solely residential.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So, you know, clients land, and they're not confused by, is this a commercial practice? You know, is this, do they just do hotels? Just do education? No, we just do sort of residential extensions, loft conversions.
Yeah.
So clients will land on the website, they'll see photos of families that look like themselves.
Yeah.
And they'll see sort of projects of houses that are similar to the houses that they've got, and they'll see kind of extensions or redesigns of things that you know, they aspire towards.
Yeah.
So if someone joins us as the franchisee, they get the benefit of all of that. It's all that kind of collateral portfolio, sort of investment in images, words, video, testimonials, blogs, all that kind of back of house stuff that draws people in. So a client will look at the website, go, oh, I really like this.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of led to enter your postcode.
Okay.
And that's all they do. So they enter the postcode and they get assigned to the appropriate architect.
And then one of the big bugbears you hear about at the moment is planning policies, how long it takes to go through the process and all the rest of it. Who then deals with, because obviously each local authority has different timescales and so on and so forth, does each individual architect that the work is assigned to deal with the own planning for the client they're working for, or does that sit with you?
No. That sits with the individual architect.
Yeah.
So if someone was to come and sort of buy into the franchise, so let's talk about you, Nick. So let's say that you were an ARB architect. You have to be an ARB architect to join Pride Road.
Yeah.
So you said, I want to run a practice in... Sorry, where do you live?
Bristol.
Bristol.
Just outside of Bristol. We'll call it Bristol for... Can you not tell by my accent?
Well, it might be that Bristol has been split into sort of 4 territories.
Yes.
So I might say, right, you can have North Bristol.
Yes.
Or North and East Bristol, for example. So how it would work, it would be Nick Brown Limited, trading as Pride Road, Bristol, North and East.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's your own company.
Yeah.
Trading as, and then you get the benefit of all the marketing and the collateral and
which is huge. That's a huge benefit.
It's a huge benefit. Yeah. And then you would run your own practice.
Yeah.
But the franchise, if you think about the franchise model as being like McDonald's.
Yeah.
So if you think of a McDonald's store, one in Bristol will be exactly the same as the one in South Manchester.
Yeah.
You've got the same, the same food, the same uniforms worn by the staff, the same processes.
Yeah.
In the same way, we have the same processes.
Okay.
The same systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is good, they're proven to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The business owner is different, but they're following a process and a system. So, we all have the same system.
Yeah.
We may be dealing with a different main road.
Yeah.
We may be dealing with a different council, different customers.
Yeah.
But we've got that knowledge of how to do it, how to manage it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of share experience as well.
Yeah.
So recently there's been a massive change to building regulations with the Building Safety Act.
Yeah.
So, we kind of all get our heads together. We get talks and CPDs from various bodies. Yeah. And, we come up with... And it's a national strategy, this. But each building control officer... building inspector company has a slightly different view.
Yeah.
So we kind of pool our experience together to work through the best way, and then that's rolled out across the
I mean, that's
board.
brilliant, because what you're then seeing, that other practices that were just based in Manchester, for example, you're having the knowledge and experience from those right around the country, so you get to see how other people are doing it.
Absolutely.
And that can only benefit you. And the franchise model is excellent in so much as if somebody is working for practice at the moment and they're even thinking remotely of going on their own, that in itself is a huge, big stumbling block, because the expense, everything that's involved in doing that, and you take these problems away from them.
Absolutely. When I sort of going back to early in my career, I never ever wanted to set up my own practice because I perceived the burden to be too high. It was only out of necessity back in 2010 that I had to set up.
Okay.
And really, the franchise is an evolution of, tackling every single kind of issue that came along and how we learned and how we've coped with it. And then you're kind of snowballing through to a practice that's got, 5 different
It's excellent.
business experiences all rolled in. So, whenever someone has an issue with when someone's had an issue with an extra request from a council on a planning application, it's like, hang on a minute, are they asking for tree surveys as part of their initial as part of the planning application at the outset? Right, okay, who's doing this? How do we manage that across the board? We're quite quick to react nationally, which is
I think it's brilliant. It's an excellent model. Not a model that's out there to the not lots of practices are doing this, so all kudos to you. And I think that actually, hopefully, this video will raise the awareness of what you're doing, and will bring people to you, because I think it's excellent, quite frankly. So, moving on, we've spoken about how you came to where you are today. What's kind of your plans for the future then? Obviously, I own the website architecturalvacancies.com, where I advertise. You're on our site at the moment, where we're promoting your franchise model we've discussed about. What's your kind of plans for the future then with growth? You want to build and grow across the country.
Absolutely.
What kind of challenges have you faced in doing so in the past then, historically?
What's the future? What's the past?
Yeah.
So we've split the country into 155 territories.
Okay.
And there's 5 of those taken at the moment. So there's a huge opportunity across the country. And when I say country, I'm talking UK, so England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales.
Okay.
So plenty of areas available. So we're looking for growth, so looking for recruitment, and also sort of sidestepping possibly into, I'm sort of talking to structural engineers, interior designers alongside as maybe sister brands.
Okay.
And sort of overseas as well. I'd be looking to sort of work with America, India, Europe, sort of for master franchisors. So it is a common. I have spoken around the world using the podcasts and what have you. I run a podcast myself.
Yes, so I hear. Yeah, thanks for getting that in on my podcast. But we'll edit that bit out. No, it's brilliant that I want to have all eyes on you. We want to promote your business. I think it's fantastic what you're doing. Genuinely, like I say, I've done this for nearly 30 years, and what you're doing is excellent. And I think that, like I say, we can roll it out across England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and globally. There's no reason why this cannot be global.
No.
And I want to try and help. You mentioned about having a partnership of, structural engineer you can go to, and that can.
Absolutely.
If I can help with that, then I absolutely will do. And I'm hoping this podcast alone, people, all eyes on you. That alone will hopefully bring.
I'm currently in discussions with structural engineers.
Yeah.
So, watch this space.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the past I've kind of had initial conversations with people in Australia.
Okay.
You find, so if we just roll back to sort of 2010 and the reason why I set up.
Yeah.
So I was the breadwinner in my family, and yet I was also the primary carer.
Right, okay.
And so working sort of 70, 80-hour weeks at an architectural practice was not happening.
No.
And I was in officially a part-time position.
Yeah.
At the end of the financial crash of 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
And at that point, 50% of all architects lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And particularly, it was sort of women at that point.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I set up out of necessity.
Yeah.
Because there were no jobs out there.
Yeah.
And then kind of as I went through, I realised that actually it was a common problem in our industry of long hours, that once kind of people qualify, once they start to have caring responsibilities, whether they are parents or caring for relatives or need a better work-life balance, that actually working in architecture is a struggle.
Absolutely.
And this, the franchise, with all the support that we offer, the way that we've systemised the process takes a lot of the admin and the strain out of running a practice. So it was my vision back in 2012 to kind of help the architectural industry, and the idea of the franchise was just it was a blueprint to provide a way forward and some good practices across the industry. And I think there has been change across the industry since I set up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the work from home thing, the flexibility you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Hand on heart, I have to say, all credit to you for what you've done through what was you mentioned a difficult time. 2008 was a nightmare for all of us that were working. Very difficult time. You've, through adversity, created something excellent, and you're helping others that are perhaps not necessarily struggling, but are thinking, okay, I'm working the 80 hours a week that you mentioned. There's more to. I've not gone into architecture to work every hour that God sends, and you're offering, a way out of that, should they so wish. And all credit to you for doing so.
Thank you.
On to that then, viewing the industry today with the youngsters that are coming up through uni and what have you. There was something I saw on LinkedIn a week or so ago, and it was particularly about a Part 1, central London, where costs are obviously ridiculously expensive. Part 1 paid, I think it was 23 grand starting salary, which, bone of contention, people are always saying, we can get paid the same in Tesco's and all the rest of it. Part 1, 23 grand, central London, their cost to live are more than the 23,000 they were paid. What are your kind of thoughts on that as the youngsters coming up through now? Do you still... Is it something you actively encourage to get still through the industry, or what's your kind of thoughts on it?
I think architecture is a long-term career path, and I think people entering in have to be passionate and dedicated to do it. I don't think it's an industry to go into if you want to make money.
Okay.
But it's an incredibly rewarding career.
Well said, yeah.
Whether, if it is... So the cost of living is so high in London, then maybe London's not the place to stick around to get your Part 1 experience. So I would say persevere. Kind of just watching my stepson going through the whole sort of training experience, and he lived at home. He didn't move to London. He lived at home to do his university. He got paid jobs. Obviously he had a fantastic mentor in me. But he's made it through, and it's not cost him the earth. and he's got a great trajectory because he's passionate, he's dedicated, he's talented.
Yeah.
So there are ways to do it. You don't.
Brilliant.
I don't think people should be moving to London and paying out a fortune in rental.
Yeah.
If you're passionate about it, there are ways to do it from your hometown.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's been very good having you here and sharing your insights and your practice and your history and how you came about and the things you've overcome to get to where you are today.
Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to working with you going forward.